adventure series. Today we're going to talk about recovery and self-recovery. So I'm going to show you through the kit that I carry. Obviously there's lots of variants of this, but this is just what I carry and why. Firstly is where do you keep it? So mine comes in a sort of bag here, so it's all in one place, so I can just go grab it. As you'll see in a minute, we're looking through the Land Rover. I can't get to the back of the Land Rover from sat inside either the passenger or the fronts because of the dog guard. So used to keep it in the very back of the vehicle of the 110, but found on a couple of occasions because of where the vehicle was stopped, it couldn't actually open the back door, so you couldn't get to the recovery kit. So now I keep it on the floor on the back seats. This is a classic example of where if you've got the recovery gear in the back, you can't get to it because that door will open a bit, but it won't open very far. So another good reason for keeping it in the cab if you can't get to the back. Yeah, by the passenger seat's feet there, so I can always lean over and grab it and go. So what do we keep in it? Let's have a look. So firstly, pressure gauge for the tyres. Obviously allows me to let down the tyres and see what pressure they're currently at, etc. Really quick and easy thing to do in terms of recovery, whether it's mud, sand, snow, etc., is to drop the pressure on the tyres, give more tyre surface area and therefore more grip. So that's a really quick win, just to be able to let down the tyres, go around, take out 10 psi or something out of the tyres, and then see if you can self-recover by just driving out. Obviously driving out's the easiest way. So that's that. There are lots of different variants of this. This is obviously quite a big bit, but you can get little valves. You can even just stick your coin in there, finger in there. Right, let's see what else we've got. Got an axe for obviously chopping down branches, trees, etc. I think I've used it once maybe, so maybe a bit of overkill, a lot of effort. The thing that I probably use more is the lockable saw. Obviously this is only going to do relatively small boughs of trees. This isn't going to do a big fall. If we come across a big fall, we usually just try to reverse back out, etc. It's not worth the hassle. I know some people carry small chainsaws, etc., so they can move forward. That's obviously a possibility, but something like this will get you, most boughs off trees, etc., that are sticking out will allow you to remove those, and then you can obviously move on. Use that quite a few times over the course of off-roading. Let's see what else. Entrenching tool or military entrenching tool, shovel, etc. Use this quite a lot. You can see it's been used for digging out. So once you get stuck in the mud, or we recently used it in France actually for trying to, there was a low tree and we thought by digging out the bank we might be able to get under it. And we did successfully, but we had to do quite a lot of digging to get them out. So carry that as a small shovel. I also carry a full-size shovel from time to time that I keep in the back. Right, what else have we got in here? Gloves, for obvious reasons. When you're starting to deal with, as we'll see in a minute, the strops and ropes and shackles and things like that, and actually having a good pair of gloves and ones that you know where are. So there's always a set in here. So a good pair of sturdy gloves in there. And then I've got a series of soft shackles. So these for connecting up to ropes, etc. I've got 3 of these in there. And then I've got some hard shackles as well. And I've also got hard shackles fitted to the front of the vehicle always, and I've got jake rings on the back as well. So there's always, should be plenty of shackles around. Tending to use the soft shackles these days, they're just safer than a piece of metal like this flying around. We've had, in a recovery in thick mud, actually my vehicle was being recovered and we were using hard shackles, and actually the shackle didn't break, the strop didn't break, the rope didn't break. It was actually the chassis that ripped, and the jake ring came flying out because it ripped a hole in the chassis, and the jake ring went into the back door of the vehicle that was trying to pull me out. Didn't get through the back window luckily, but it left a good dent. Obviously if that comes through the windscreen, you're going to be in trouble. And then we've got a whole bunch of different sized strops. I'm carrying 4 of them of different sizes and lengths, etc. Some brand new, not touched, and others that have been used a few times. You'd be surprised how many of these you need and the length you might need. We recovered a vehicle out of a tank track in Salisbury Plain that was just bogged in, couldn't get out. Took 2 vehicles, we had to pair 2 vehicles together. We tried it with one, couldn't pull it. We stropped 2 vehicles to each other, and then we had to have a very long couple of strops tied together to get the length back to the vehicle that was being recovered. So we ended up using not just all of mine, but all of the other guys' shackles and stuff as well. So actually carrying a lump between multiple vehicles is really handy, because you'd be surprised how many you need. And then lastly in here, I've got a winch blanket or a strop blanket. So where you've got the strops laid out a long distance, or you've got a rope, then you can add this over the top of it. So if something does break, this will deaden the impact of that piece of equipment springing back. It should take the force, some of the force out of it at least. So we always just wrap that around the strop or the rope or anything that we've got there. So those are the things that I carry in this bag. I then have, which I'm going to show you now, is another rope, a kinetic rope as well for tugging. Should you need it in, is the kinetic rope. So quite a large, I don't know how many meters this is, but it's probably about 10 meters, 6 meters, something like that. Actually, probably says on the label here. 9 meters. So 9 meters, 22 millimeter diameter, 28,900 pounds. Don't know what that is in English, but anyway, it's fairly hefty. But this stores up some of the energy. So when you're trying to tug somebody out because they're really stuck and you want to give them a jolt to free them potentially in mud, etc., then it's something like a kinetic rope's good for that. You can just jolt them free and shouldn't do too much damage to the vehicle here. As many of you will know, the towing eyes or the towing pieces on these vehicles are not designed for recovery, and therefore, as I've done twice, ripped the chassis. And that's mainly using strops, where you try to give somebody a tug using a strop, and the force is just transferred from your vehicle to their vehicle and vice versa, and it just damages the chassis. So something like that should help with that, should you need to do it. And obviously, if you don't need to do it, don't do it. Use 2 vehicles to pull rather than one, that type of thing. You'd be amazed the difference that 2 vehicles tied together, pulling the 3rd vehicle out, makes. So the other things that I'm carrying are the boards, the mud boards or the recovery boards, which I'll show you up on top there. 2 of those that sat on top of the vehicle, so that I can just climb up onto the bonnet, grab them off the roof, and then stick them under the wheels, the ones that have lost traction, etc. Try and ride up onto them, and then try and get it out. And then lastly, on the far side, I've got the high lift jack that sat on the other side of the vehicle, and again that could be used for a sort of winch. Not used it as a winch ever, only ever used it as a jack. Seen it done on videos. Looks feasible, although very, very slow, because you're moving, an inch at a time with each crank of it, etc. So you're not going to move very far. It's going to take a long time to do it, and you're going to have to keep resetting it. So a bit of a pain in the ass, but ultimately doable if you're stuck. And then lastly, I haven't, at the moment, I've just put on a winch bumper, ready for a winch. So the next thing will be to get a winch. Don't know how many times I use it. I've got friends that have got winch, and I think we've probably used it once. A couple of times where we might have used it had we had it, but I think it's going to be nice to have additional thing on there. You might be able to self-recover in certain situations where the other vehicle just can't get the right angle, stuck behind you, you went in first, got stuck, etc. They can't pull you backwards, or whatever the situation might be, where a winch might just come in handy. But that's the gear that I carry. This is what we carry. This is works for most of UK. We've been in the UK, we've been in the Sahara, in Morocco, we've been in France, we've been in Portugal, we've been in Spain, and this has got us out of every kind of situation that we came across.